We're on. Okay, let's go. New chapter, finally. And I think it's the longest. I don't know, chapter 38. Chapter 37 is the longest or one of the longest chapters in the Tanya. And in chapter 37, the Alter Rebbe was investing tremendous amount of time and energy and space in talking about the importance of action. Doing mitzvahs, doing. You gotta do. Because when you do, you elevate the entire physical world, which is really what Hashem wants. He created a physical world for us to elevate it. And when we do mitzvahs, we elevate not only our neshama, we elevate our body. We said the famous line that the neshama doesn't need elevation. Neshama doesn't need rectification. The neshama only stands to gain by coming down and elevates everything that goes with it. The money you give to charity, your body, when you eat, and the food you invest into your body when you do a mitzvah, everything is elevated. Okay.
That's not for the nefesh? Food is something associated with neshama?
No, your body.
Okay.
So I'm saying, it's not only your nefesh it's elevated, it's not only the body, it's everything that goes into it. Okay. Hine, chapter 38. Interesting, this lesson we're learning now, this is the Tanya for tomorrow's portion. This is tomorrow's Tanya. You see over here it says 2nd of Nisan.
Are you serious? We're synchronized like that right now?
Yeah, we are synchronized. Tonight is actually a very special night. Tonight is the Yartzeit, the day of passing of the Rebbe Rashab, the 5th Chabad Rebbe, Shalom Deber, who passed away on the 2nd of Nisan in 1920. It's 105 years ago, 106 years ago, and he's buried in Rostov. So he was one of the great explainers of Hasidic philosophy and thought. So we're definitely going to tap into the energy of this day and learn Chassidus. Here we go. Hine, im kolana yuvon. Based on what we learn in chapter 37, we'll understand Heitev well. Psak halacha, the halachic ruling, harucha that is laid out b'Talmud. Upaiskim and the verdict is the hirur lav kidibur dami. Thinking is not considered, is not sufficient. You can think all the intent of Shema. You have to say it. You have to say the words. And if a person reads the Shema in his mind, or in his heart, levad alone, with all the power of his intent, and the guy has all the intents of Kabbalistic, he has not fulfilled his obligation. And he has to go back and say it again. In the right side, the same thing is when it comes to the grace after meals, which is the biblical commandment. And also the other prayers, which are rabbinical, and davening, which is every day. And on the other side, if the guy just says the words,
I've heard that.
Right?
Some rabbis get kind of a going.
I remember. If you ask me what I remember from my father's father growing up, he passed away when I was 10. That's all. He would say Tehillim, Psalms. Didn't speak. That's to remember. That's to remember. My mother said, "Why would he say that? He's such a nice guy." I'm not saying he wasn't a nice guy. Didn't say a word to me, right? But if he say the words, you fulfill the obligation b'diavad post facto. Now, obviously, the proper way to do a mitzvah is to know what you're saying, to understand what you're saying, and to do it properly. But if you read the Amidah, even if you don't understand the words, you fulfilled the obligation. And you do not need to go back. Levad, the only line you must read with intent is pasuk Rishon al Krishma, the first line of Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu. And the first blessing of the Amidah. It says in the Gemara Brachas, Ad kan mitzvahs kavana, till here is the mitzvah of intent. Mekan ve'elach mitzvahs kriya. From here on, the rest of the Shema and the Amidah, the mitzvah is just to read it. Now again, we're talking about, I'm not talking about the optimal, we are not talking about the optimal way to implement the mitzvah. We're talking about the bare minimum. The Hainu. Now why is this? How could it be that if I have all the intent in the world, I didn't do the mitzvah? But if I say the words, I did do the mitzvah. Even though I'm thinking about the Yankees. When are the Yankees starting, by the way? It's got to be soon. Right? It's almost the end of March.
Yeah,
we live in Miami.
The end of March.
We root for the Marlins.
Yep.
Donkey. There's no we.
Listen to me.
I will never root for him.
Listen to me. In 2003, this
back to
conversation
Brooklyn.
was settled. All right,
Excuse me.
the Yankees and the Marlins met in the World Series,
Excuse me.
and that was settled.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you're right.
Excuse me.
2003.
Our friendship
Yeah.
has limits. You bash the Yankees again. I'll
sorry.
throw you out of here.
It's
Jets fan too.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Oh,
No, I used to be.
boy.
Hi no, Mishum. Don't go. You're gonna bring up a trauma, okay? Hi no, Mishum. Why is this? Shanashama any tzricha tikkun latzmi mitzvahs. When you think and you ponder, it has more to do with your neshama, right, inside of you. The neshama doesn't need a fix. Think about it. The neshama, where was it before it came down? Under God's throne, chilling out on the beach of holiness, wherever that is. Why it's in paradise? Why would it come down? Not for a fix. Rak, the only reason why it's sent down, it comes down here, is laham shechar, to bring down, because it's a tool to bring down the world, to fix everything else. I don't, the soul says, I don't need this, I'm here for you. Ayidei, how does it do this? Through Isis Adibur, through the
Does
word.
the Yechida send the neshama?
No, the Yechida is a part of the neshama. The Yechida is an element of the neshama. The Yechida never comes down into the body, by the way.
I know that, but how do you
Hashem sends the neshama.
associate the Yechida with all of this? Is it
Every neshama is associated with a person, let's say, whatever, right? But only the nefesh and ruach and neshama affiliate with the body,
well? You also have the Olam Makif,
which
is
is
Chaya, but I'm wondering if a neshama is completed, it's all
if it finishes its entire job.
all the tikkun, all for its nefesh, or
There is no tikkun. Again, that's what he's saying. The neshama is not. It doesn't need a tikkun for itself. It's sent down to fix here. But it's not. The neshama doesn't need a tikkun. So he's like exactly what he's saying here. The neshama's
tikkun. It's like the
neshama's job
there's
is
the
to.
50 levels of perfecting it.
It's-
Is what I'm referring to. The Shar Nun.
I understand what you're saying, but the neshama already. It's not elevation, not tikkun. Elevation.
There you go. Fine.
Aliyah.
You always get
Aliyah.
me stuck on a word. Semantics is important
Because we just.
for the most irrelevant reason. Right
We
now.
just no because we just.
Elevation. So I'm asking elevation. Does the Yechida is it a part of the neshama, or is that something deeper? That once the neshama is
The Yechida-
elevated, what
the-
happens to the Yechida?
No, you're separating the two when they're not.
I'm not separating.
Yeah, so what happens to the yechida? What?
No, I'm saying if a
So-
neshama completes its elevation, what happens to within the process?
So the yechida represents the part of the neshama that was never separated. It's always connected. That means it's not elevated or
It doesn't come down. It stays there.
right. It never descends.
not over
It's
here.
always in a
That's
state of
the
unity
Shia.
with God. The question is revealing it. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. So one second. Let me close the door.
Ari's cool. But
So how do you do this? So how do you elevate? How do you fix the physical world? You gotta do things physical. You gotta move. You gotta move your lips. By speaking words of Torah, and action. You can't elevate. You can't perfect the world around you if you're not involved in the world around you. I think we've spoken about this before, where this is a reoccurring theme in the book of Genesis. This argument, this debate first happens between Adam and Chava. This debate is happening, the struggle is happening within Yaakov. But Yaakov is a great example of this. Every time Yaakov has a problem, what does he do? He runs away, right? It says Esau was a man in the field, Yaakov sat in the tent. Yaakov didn't want to have anything to do with the material world. Yaakov said, I'll sit and learn Torah, I'll be a holy person. To borrow the famous line from Fiddler on the Roof, why should I break my head on the world? Let the world break its own head, right? It's not my problem. In the story of Yaakov, Hashem is constantly showing Yaakov, that's not why I need you. I need you to interact with Esav in order to fix him. I need to interact with Lavan. All these different things. If Hashem wanted, do you think it's logical that God would send a soul down just to see if it could survive? You think it's logical that the neshama is here to play survivor? It doesn't have any intrinsic purpose. The purpose is just to see that it doesn't get caught up. There's nothing positive and purposeful. It's only to see that the whole purpose is that it's what you don't do. That doesn't make any sense. So don't send me down in the first place and so, right? If I'm okay, then why send me away? I'm fine. Obviously, there's got to be something where I can do when I'm there, right? Does that make sense? Yes. Yeah. Okay. So that means if the neshama is coming down to fix and elevate this world, it can't remain aloof. It has to interact. Now, when you interact, like Yaakov has a fight with that strange man, Esav's angel, what happens? He gets injured and he gets dirty. Yeah, there is that chance that you're going to get scarred, but at the end of a person's life, no one goes into the grave perfect. Everyone has scars, physical, emotional. Yeah. Everyone has scars, but that's the journey of life. But you accomplish things in your life. If you don't interact with life, you'll never have a life. Right?
That's your baggage.
Right. A person could make the argument. You could live a very quiet, serene life. You don't get married. You don't have kids. Everything's perfect. In your house, everything's perfect. At the end of the day, nothing there, right? So you have a nice house. So you have a nice car. Your car still has the new car smell 3 years later. Whatever it is. There's no value. And you're alone. There's nothing, right? Yeah, we have kids. They spill on the carpet and they drive you crazy and they wake you up in the middle of the night and all that. But you look back and these are the happiest people. So if the neshama is going to elevate the world, it's got to interact. It's got to speak. It's got to do. So the mitzvahs involving speech and action, which utilize the power of the vital soul and the organs. This says what it says, and you use the body because thought is being the province of the divine soul, cannot satisfy the demands. Okay, now 3 stars. Sort of we're jumping on to not new, but we're talking about kavana. It says it has a introduction from the beginning of chapter 35. The Alter Rebbe expanded. The beginning of chapter 35 said, "Lavar heitev la'soisei," to do it. Remember that verse, the verse which the whole Tanya is based on. Ki kari v'lecha davar ma'id. Its matter is very close to you.
Did we come up with that? Is that our line? Is just
What?
do it our line?
Yeah,
That's it. That's our line.
just do it.
It's not
They should have
Nike's.
TM'd it.
They
should've.
stole it from us.
Telling you,
Unbelievable.
yeah.
And Nike's a Greek god, and they stole that too.
Nike's a Greek
I
god.
didn't even know
Nike,
that.
just do it. Come on. Keep
Nike
up.
is a Greek god. I don't know.
I
I
never
don't know.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm a little behind in my Greek.
Would you wear Adidas shell toes?
Adidas
What are
was
they wearing,
made by a Nazi
in
named
Crown Heights?
Adolf.
In Borough Park.
Who?
Adidas. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just totally derailed this thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
never mind.
Adidas was the founder of it. One of the 2 brothers. They were both Nazis. They were in the Nazi party, officially like members of the Nazi party. And the guy's name was Adolf Dassing or
A
something.
lot
like
of
that.
Jews
So
were
it's
named Adolf before
Adidas.
World War
And,
II.
Yeah.
and his brother split off, and that became Puma.
Yeah,
So you know, by the brands.
All right.
There you go.
So I basically just walk around with Tevas. That's it.
Yeah,
So we started off saying, we said the Alter Rebbe started in chapter 35 explaining the
Just
Vasek.
do it.
Says the matter is very near to you in your heart and in your mouth and in your heart to do it. And we explained that the mitzvah of action and the speech, which is also called action, are paramount important since it is through them that we achieve the goal of transforming and elevating the world. The goal will be realized when the energy of the vital soul and the body of every yid will ascend from klipas nega to holiness. Thereby, all of klipas nega, meaning the vitality of the entire world, will ascend to holiness, and automatically the impurity will cease to exist. and there will be no obstruction, and that Mashiach comes, the world is going to be recognized as Hashem's dwelling place. Since the entire process hinges on the elevation of a Jew's body and his nefesh chayunas, his vital soul, and since the elevation is accomplished only by means of mitzvahs of action, which require the power to perform the mitzvahs, therefore the mitzvahs of action are the most important. In the discussion that follows, Alter Rebbe is now going to talk about the other side of the coin. Because before we said just do it. So you go about like robots and just doing it. I don't care what I'm doing, and as long as I'm doing. Now the Alter Rebbe is going to get into kavana. Kavana means devout concentration or intention into performance. So if the whole thing's action, then what's the difference? There's an argument that in the Torah between Korach and Moshe. Korach, Moshe's first cousin, comes to Moshe. It says, "Why are you better than everyone else?" Now, what kind of stupid question is that? You can't see how Moshe is better than you? I mean, how arrogant do you really think?
It's a misunderstanding, though.
Hold on a second. I know. Hold on. I'm asking you the question. Hold on a second. Deep breaths. Deep breaths.
Korach was he had a vision of his great-great-grandson Samuel.
Hold on. So,
And he
Chassidus
saw that
explains.
Moses didn't have any.
So, Chassidus explains that what Korach's argument to Moshe is, if it came to Moshe and says, is intent the most important, or is action the most important? So action is the most important. So if we're all putting on the same tefillin, then why are you better than us? If you tell me intent is the most important, no one can touch you, right? You're Moshe, the greatest prophet of all time. But you're telling us it's not about that. You're telling us it's all about action. Then we're the same.
The Zohar says that the reason why Moses was angry was because Korach wouldn't make peace with Aaron.
Korach, right? Korach was the sake of argument. There are different types of questions. The people ask questions because they want to answer. People ask questions because they want to fight. Korach wanted to fight. So Moshe answers him.
He didn't want peace.
Right, exactly. Yeah, he wanted to fight.
It's the lack of.
Right.
That's what made Moses angry.
That's why it says Vayikach Korach. Tagar uncle says V'yispalgo Korach. He caused a separation.
That's a whole part of the Zohar the second day.
So what did Moshe say? Moshe says to him, "Listen, Korach, you're right. Action is paramount. It doesn't mean intent is zero. Yes, we all put on the same tefillin, but the way we put on tefillin is not the same. Right? So Alter Rebbe is now going to say, yes, we've spoken about for the past 2.5 chapters, 3 chapters, that doing mitzvahs is the most important. But don't think that kavana doesn't mean anything. Kavana is going to help and uplift the mitzvah. And he's going to give the example of a bird. A bird has 2 wings. Now, according to halacha, we were talking about the sacrifices in previous class. According to halacha, if the animal has a blemish, you can't bring it on the altar. Now, if a bird has a broken wing, can you bring it on the altar?
No.
The answer is yes, because the wing is not considered an integral part of the bird.
Only the part.
Because it's there to assist the bird to fly. It's not essential part of the bird's body. A bird can live without it. It's fine. But a bird doesn't function as a bird, as a flying creature, if it can't fly. So the Alter Rebbe is going to give the example of the mitzvah is the body of the bird, right? That's the most important. But without wings, where's your mitzvah going? It's not going on. But let's go inside. However, yet, Afal Pikein Amru, still they said, Tefillah Shar Bracha B'lei Kavana, prayer, or some bracha without intent, Henke Guf B'lei Neshama. It's like a body without a soul. Pirush, what does it mean? Just like everything has energy and matter, right? Sheheim nefesh kol chai, which is the life force of every existing being. Beruach basar ish, and the ruach, the spirit of every person. V'nishamas kol asher ruach chayim ba'apav, and the neshama of every breath in his nostrils. The kol ba'al chai of every living creature. V'Hashem chayes kulam, and Hashem gives life to all of them. Mahavoisam creates them ayin lash from something to nothing. Tamid constantly. But the energy and life that he gives to them. Shagama gufa chumri, even the material body.
Are they acknowledging 2 different souls in your body here?
We've always said there are 2 different souls in your body. What do you mean?
That there's he bestows upon them. Like it spoke about a plural amount of souls.
Okay, so
I'm familiar with that and I agree with it. I've also heard that there are more than one neshamot if you have an ibul.
okay, then we're not getting that.
I know.
You're bringing up.
Next. Yeah.
No, so there's a nefesh hachiyunis. Nefesh hachiyunis is your life force. The fact that you exist, your existing soul, existing life force, and that existing life force is in your body.
That's the one that said neshama should
No.
tabi.
No,
Nafach tabi.
no.
Like with one soul, one part of the soul was talking to God about the other part of the soul
Well,
that he
that-
blew into his nostrils.
That's nefesh halakis. That's a godly soul.
That's the godly soul.
That's a godly
What?
soul. I'm saying that you have your existing soul. The body exists.
Okay.
Then you have the intellectual soul. That separates animals from humans. Then you have the godly soul, which separates Jews from other humans. That's generally the breakdown of nefesh hachiyunis, nefesh hasichlis, nefesh halakis. Nefesh hachiyunis is the nefesh of life. Nefesh hasichlis, the nefesh of intellect, intelligence, and nefesh halakis, the soul, the godly soul.
3 nefeshot.
Yes, but here we're talking about the nefesh hachiyunis, the fact that you exist.
One neshama.
Yeah, it's one nefesh. Yeah, life
No,
force.
one neshama, 3 nefeshot.
No, you're getting confused. Let's use the word nefesh, not neshama. Okay?
But they're different parts. They have
I-
different words.
They're not different words. They represent different levels.
But
represent-
the 3 parts of the nefesh are all within one. Or are they separate?
In some people, the part of his soul. Let's use the English word soul. Okay?
Yeah, sometimes it works
Soul,
better.
soul, nefesh will be present, and that person will have a harder time connecting to godliness because he has lower level of his soul is present or shining. Some people, again, through no accomplishment of their own, they have a higher level of soul, have ruach, and some people have even higher level of neshama. Those people serving Hashem is just like, walking down the
But
street.
what was the 3? You said chiyunit.
That's.
I'm talking about that.
I know, again, but
Chiyunit,
no.
the sichlit, and the...
So when I said nefesh halakis, so nefesh halakis is divided into nefesh ruach neshama chayechida. Understand? The nefesh hasichlis and nefesh hashchinas are not divided into. Okay,
Now I'm with you.
The nefesh,
Now I'm with you.
The nefesh means the nefesh is life force. Everything in the world has a nefesh.
Okay.
Okay.
Humans have nefesh sichli.
What are you saying? But everything. This has.
Yes.
You exist. You have a nefesh. The rock.
That's a nefesh chiyuni.
Right. Yeah.
And there's a nefesh sichli, and that's...
Then human beings.
That's Adam, Bnei Adam.
Well, not everything has the same nefesh. Nefesh, by the way. Rocks and trees.
I understand.
And trees and animals don't have the same
I
nefesh.
don't remember some math about that.
Exactly. So human beings have the fact that you exist, your body exists. That's nefesh hachiyunis. Then God gave a person das. Right? Aside from emotions, we also have intellect. That's something on top of what other mammals and animals have. That's sichlis.
Self-awareness.
Right? Intellect, we can discern. We can speak. So it's also about nefesh sichlis. It's also called nefesh amidaberes, the speaking soul, because we can speak. We can formulate language. They can. And then, in the category of human beings, the category of Jews, we have a transcendental soul, a nefesh halakis, and that nefesh halakis is divided into nefesh ruach neshama chayechid.
This is the best episode of Tanya ever.
Good night.
Let's go. Let's go. Eric called it earlier today.
By the way, I should stop because I should quit when I'm on top.
This is, you just gave me clarity. Aspeklavia. Toda.
Bam. Okay. So now, Shagam, we're holding
Shagam
Shagam Maguf, Hachumri. Even the physical body, the material body, Afilo Avonim ve'Afar Deim Mamish, and even the most inanimate things, stones and dirt, Yesh Bahem Or V'Chayis Memenisparach, have godly energy. They exist. Nothing happens on its own. If it exists, it's because someone put it there. Right? Like the word just. I used to tell my students, the word just is a 4-letter curse word. What do you mean just? It exists because someone put it here. Nothing, no existence is absolute. means the fact that the lights are on, there has to be a constant flow of energy. What happens when the energy stops? The light turns off. For something to exist, Hashem has to constantly invest it with energy because the world doesn't absolutely exist. There's only one absolute existence that doesn't rely on anything to exist. He is the existence and He's the source of all existence. That's God. That's it. Everything else needs to be reinfused, reanimated, recreated every single moment. Why? Because you don't take it for. It's like a puppet or ventriloquist. As long as the ventriloquist is moving the puppet, it's moving. The second he stops, the ventriloquist.
George Soros. Sorry.
He's a ventriloquist. The moment he stops, it's not like the puppet fades to black or no, he stops absolutely because the ventriloquist has to keep infusing him with power. Now, the alpha became still Eina Erech V'Dimyan Klal. You can't compare, even though everything has nefesh. The animal, the rock has nefesh. The tree has nefesh. The animal has nefesh. Human being, but you can't compare. There's no comparison between a human being and the rock. It says b'mechinas or v'chayis hameir guf, between the energy that Hashem invests in the body, like b'mechinas or v'chayis hameir b'neshama, between the way Hashem invested in the neshama. Now, to throw a little wrinkle into what we said before, nefesh chay ruach neshama. I said that. Sorry. Nefesh ruach neshama and chay and chida also are in Kabbalah represent nefesh is inanimate. Right? It just exists. Ruach means spirit. You could see there's something there. Trees grow. There's something there. Someone put out an article that trees communicate with each other. Someone said it was pseudoscience, and someone said it's true.
No, it's true.
Okay, I'm saying some people argue that.
You can track the electric signals that go off.
Then animals are alive, right? They're alive. They move around. They have emotions. They're chaya. Right? They have neshama. They have neshama. They have life, right? A human being, he's alive. He's connected to Hashem. But you wouldn't compare everything as godliness. But you can't compare the godliness invested in one compared to the godliness invested in the other.
One of my favorite things from Luria is the connecting the parsot between each level. So there's coral, and then there are plants that eat bugs.
Yeah.
And then he says that between animals and us are apes.
Interesting. So should we stop here or should we continue going?
We can stop here. This has been, I derailed it, but
let's stop here. We'll stop by godliness because Alter Rebbe is going to start getting into the differences and how godliness is revealed. Because it's all one godliness. It's not different levels. It's one godliness. The question is how obscure godliness is. We're going to get into tzimtzum, contraction, and there's more. There's one energy, right? There's not different ways of electricity. Good stuff.
How's Tzimtzum connected to this before? No. How's Tzimtzum connected into this?
To what?
Yeah, everyone watching this is going to appreciate it later.
To what?
How is Tzimtzum connected to this?
Because there's godliness. Hashem brings everything into existence. By a rock, there's more tzimtzum. That's why you look at a rock and it doesn't look alive. By a tree, there's less tzimtzum, less contraction, more revelation. The more revelation, the more proof of life there is. The more, but it's interesting, by the way. Where is their infinity? In the ground. The ground is, you can keep planting, it doesn't stop. And not only that, even if you don't plant, the ground gives forth. Because no, it's tichlosim b'safan. The higher they are, the lower they go. It's a very Kabbalah talks about that. Although godliness is the most restricted in the inanimate, in the ground, that's where the most godliness is. All right.